The national champion is clad in big orange. The pitch. Swing and a miss. That's the ball game. The national champion is clad in big orange.
Pat Summit and Destiny have met 7 times before. Tonight is number 8.
Tennessee Volunteers have wrapped up an SEC outright regular season title. Connect with
the SEC runs through Rocky Top. Tennessee wins the SEC regular season crown for the 2nd consecutive season.
the low. In the air, right center field. Ross on the move. Rock it there. Tennessee walks it off. It's a misstep. Deep three. Come on now. And don't connect. Robbie Draghi this time. Indeed. New hand there. Down the middle. Got it. The fly is high and again. And he's going to take it. Touchdown, Tennessee.
Hey, how much fun is this?
Man, Rocky Top. This is college football and it's absolute best.
You already know it. This is college athletics at its absolute best. There is another team knocking on the door for that saying, but we're not going to talk about that right now. This is the Vol Fanatics Show. We are late as usual because of me. I just got home from work, but it has been that type of week. And Michael, my co-host, how are we doing on this fine Thursday night?
And we are doing fantastic. It's another day that's 6 feet above ground.
That's
we get to
exactly right.
talk more Tennessee
Well,
sports.
5'2" for me, but I get your point.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Anyway, we get to talk about Tennessee sports. So it's always a good night whenever we get to do that. Things are going well outside of the sports world. Waiting to see if Chaz Lanier gets drafted. I believe he's waiting to get drafted tonight in the 2nd round. So awesome. Looking forward to that. Skylar, how you doing, my man?
Dude, I am busy as ever, but I have this saying that I've been using, and it's stressed. I'm sorry. Look, I done messed it up. It's blessed to be stressed. You see, life has been kind of crazy, but not to get all religious on you, but somebody was asking me today, actually this morning, like, what is one thing you're thankful for? And it's to know that, like, where I'm at right now in life is exactly where the man upstairs wants me to be. So, I mean, how could I complain when I have that in the back of my mind? So we're here. We're talking ball. We're going to talk a little bit about another team in particular because of the historic run that they're on right now. But Michael, before we do any of that, do you mind if I give off our presenting sponsor of the show, who just renewed, by the way? So we got just a massive thank you to Chris Smith Insurance, who is now in year 2 of supporting the show. And you already know who it is. It's, as a homeowner, Chris Smith was once let down by an insurance company. So he started his own agency where instead of feeling like a big company is fighting against you, you'll know that your agent is fighting for you. All insurance is not equal. He has that in bold, so that must be important. Trust the Chris Smith Insurance today in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Give him a call at 865-272-3387. And one thing that really sticks out about Chris Smith and his team is, any insurance agent can really shop you for best rates, right? But what sets them apart is they also make sure that you're properly covered. So they find you the best coverages for the best rates. That way, if that accident does happen, you don't really have to stress and worry about if something's covered or not. He's going to be right there at your doorstep to help you through every step of the way. Chris, we appreciate you so much for your support.
Absolutely, man. And as you said, shout out to Chris, who just renewed as a sponsor for the show. So a big shout out to him. And then just going to go ahead and throw out a shout out to all of our other sponsors as well, as we got Optimal Asbestos Services, who we're going to mention here in just a minute with their ad read. You got P&L Business Services as well as Kaizen Painting, all who have been loyal sponsors of the show pretty much since day one, and all have been sponsors for going on their 2nd year of the show, which we are about to enter our 3rd year. That first year we didn't have sponsors until kind of towards the middle to the end of it, which I mean,
we
weren't big enough.
Show.
Yeah, we weren't big enough to need sponsors.
We were just doing it for fun, man.
But
So
we
what does it
really,
say? Like, does it not make you like more proud that the folks that supported us from day one are still continuing to do so? I feel like to me that like means the world.
absolutely, man. Your day ones are always going to be your favorite ones because they were there when nobody else was.
That's right.
And we remember a time whenever we first started when my mom, my sister, my wife on my side, Skylar's parents, close friends, they were the only ones that listened to the show. And now here we are on YouTube. We're sitting at 412 subscribers strong. I believe Facebook is getting close to the 500 mark. So we're just so blessed and thankful for all of our listeners, all of our subscribers. But a big shout out to our sponsors who they want to see us succeed on this. And we want to get their brand out there as well. And just the fact that they're willing to put their brand on our show here, it's more than we could ask for. So a big shout out to all of our sponsors
That's
for the
right.
show.
For the folks that are watching live on YouTube, Facebook, and X, Michael, tell us a little bit about that logo right there at the bottom middle of the screen. What is the College Huddle about, big dog?
So the College Huddle, we are a community of fan-run podcast that we just want to show our love for our respective teams. So we are the official Tennessee sponsor of the College Huddle. There are 80 plus other podcasts around the country that support their schools as well. Anywhere from the Power 5 level to the Group of 5 level. We just do the FBS schools right now. We'd love to have a big enough following base on the College Huddle to get into some FCS schools as well. But we are proudly the Tennessee sponsor there, and you can catch us as well as all of our other affiliates on the collegehuddle.com, as well as on the College Huddle YouTube page and the X page as well. As I posted a video this past week that our good friend Daniel from the Gator Truth podcast and we got together and kind of did a preview of the Tennessee and Florida schedules for this upcoming season, kind of our expectations. And you could check that out on YouTube, give it a like and comment on there if you'd like to. So just really appreciate the College Huddle. We appreciate all of our sponsors, just everything for the journey that we've been on so far as we enter year 3 of the Ball Fanatics Show.
Heck yeah. All right, Michael, you've been talking a lot. I'm going to make you talk a little bit more. What is the rundown today? What's our 3 segments about?
So today's rundown, and a shout out to Skylar for two of these segments that we're doing today. So the first one, we're going to talk a little bit of LSU and Tennessee on the baseball diamond. Jay Johnson versus Tony Vitello. Who is building a dynasty? Who would you rather play for? Who's the better coach? So we're going to talk all about that in segment 1. Segment 2, we're going to look at the toughest stadiums to play at in the country, as EA Sports came out with their list this past week with just ahead of the College Football 26 release. And Tennessee was not on that list once again. So we're going to look at that, give our list of the top 10 toughest places to play in the country. And then we're going to follow it up with segment 3, give our list of the top 10 SEC quarterbacks entering the 2025 season. But before we get into all that, I would like to give you our segment 1 sponsor, and that is Optimal Asbestos Services. Optimal Asbestos Services offers detailed asbestos inspections and air quality assessments. Whether you're looking to secure your home or workplace, you can trust Optimal Asbestos Services to deliver thorough and reliable solutions. You can contact Jeff Mull at 865-223-3297 for your consultation today, or go on the web at optimalasbestosservices.com. So, as mentioned, segment 1, it's all about LSU and Tennessee, Jay Johnson versus Tony Vitello. So, Skylar, you came up with the topic. What do you want to start off with this topic?
I did. I mean, really, I just wanted to applaud Jay Johnson, the LSU squad, for bringing home the hardware, really in easy fashion. I mean, they won 2 games against Coastal, which, I mean, everybody kind of thought Coastal. I mean, at least I did. I wasn't disrespecting Coastal in any way. They won like freaking, I don't know, 27 in a row.
I think they got up to 27 in a row.
I mean, they were just rolling, and so it kind of had me thinking like, oh, I mean, like, LSU didn't look to be unstoppable this year, so I kind of thought Coastal was going to take them the distance. And two really good games. It's just LSU got the better of them on both ends, and just got to tip your hat to Jay Johnson. And then it kind of brought at least the thought, the idea, like, okay, look, I was firmly believing that Tony Vitello was the best, not just best head coach in the league right now, but best program in the league right now. Just overall, I mean, the wins, stats don't lie, the numbers are there. But then you blink and realize, wow, this is Jay Johnson's second natty at LSU in just 3 years. So it really sparks the conversation. LSU's a great squad. I think this is like their fifth or sixth natty since 2000. So like as a baseball program, and then the second one under Jay Johnson, and like I said, in the last 3 years, what are your initial thoughts? I mean, like, I know, like me, maybe it was homerism, but I really thought Tony V had the number one program in the nation. But I feel like Jay Johnson's knocking on the door saying, no, Tony, you're taking a back seat as of right now. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I personally still think that right now, Tony Vitello is definitely more established, and he's built a program from nothing. Where LSU has been they've been a baseball powerhouse for quite some time now. I mean, you had legendary coach Paul Maneri that won. I believe he won a couple of natties whenever he was at LSU, and then the coach before him also won. I think Paul Maneri won one title, and then whoever was coach before Maneri won 2 titles, something along those lines. But Jay Johnson inherited a program that was still very good. Now, did he take that and further that? Absolutely. I mean, getting to pick up Paul Skeens in 23 and the amount of talent that was around Paul Skeens, and I know there's others on that team as well. It was unbelievable what he did in year one, leading LSU to the Natty. Took a step back last year with all the talent that left the team, went to the pros after that. But, he did break the curse of defending national titles, not even making the postseason the following season. They made the regionals, did not make it out of regionals. But then this year, bringing in the talent that he did, and honestly, I felt like LSU, while they had a fantastic pitching staff, they weren't the best all-around batting team until you got to Tennessee. And I felt like that's where LSU gained their momentum, because in game one, we talked about it for days, weeks even, that Tennessee literally gave up game one. They had it won up 3-0 in the 9th inning and gave up 4 runs in the bottom of the 9th to drop game one. That leads to, was it game 2 that they won, or did they drop game 2 and win game 3? I think they won game 2 and then lost game 3.
Okay.
Because game 3s were our kryptonite this year.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So you did come back. You bounced back in game 2, but then you lost game 3. And really, game 2 didn't go your way for a lot of it, but you ended up pulling out a win. But LSU took that series there and built on it. And they were just a machine that did not stop the rest of the season. They didn't just blow people out by any means, but they just consistently kept winning, did just enough. And they got a great draw all the way to the Men's College World Series, beat a Arkansas team that arguably was the most talented team in the country this year, beat them twice to make the finals, and just did whatever they had to. So Jay Johnson is doing a fantastic job down there, not taking anything away from him, and he is building a team that is going to compete year in and year out with Tennessee as one of the top teams in the nation. But I do feel like right now Tony Vitello is more established, but I do think Jay Johnson can absolutely overtake him. And honestly, a lot of people will say has overtaken him by winning those 2 titles.
I think he has. I mean, look, you say he's more established. I mean, yeah, Tony V's been at Tennessee a lot longer than obviously Jay Johnson's been at LSU, but you forget that he took Arizona to the World Series. I think even got runner-up 2016. Yeah. College World Series runner-up in 2016. So, like, this isn't something new to Jay Johnson. I think he just got a great opportunity at LSU. I look at this year in particular, especially in our championship run last year, all the breaks that we capitalized on, LSU capitalized on the breaks. The way, like, against Tennessee, yes, the way they took over game one late in the ninth and built on that, like you mentioned. But then, like, I think of their regional where they actually had to go into the second championship game, right? They got pushed all the way to the end in their regional and then eked out of that. I mean, nothing was easy for them to get to the World Series, but then they get to Arkansas, had to play them a couple times. But, as much as I want to say Arkansas gave it away, they would have still had to beat LSU twice at that point. But, man, they capitalized on Arkansas's mistakes. And honestly, an Arkansas team that had its issues. They thought they got it figured out, but then, man, I just don't know how to explain how they gave that game up to LSU to have them clinch into the World Series. I mean, I think of the ground ball there late in the ninth when there was runners on first and second, and the shortstop for Arkansas just gets the lead runner out at third instead of trying to turn two. I don't know why he did that. I think in the post game he said, "Look, the ball was taking me that way, so I just got the lead out." And like maybe so, but like, dude, you took like one or two steps over to get that ball. Like you could have easily flipped it back over to second, got first, and then ended the game outright. Instead, you do get the guaranteed out, and you got the lead runner. Great, but you gave up that opportunity. You left that opportunity to bring the next batter to the plate. And if postseason baseball hasn't shown you before, if there's not 27 outs on the board, there is a chance for a team to win. And LSU did that. They built on it. And then, like I said, they really just never gave Coastal a chance. It was a 1-0 ball game in the World Series. I think it was a pitching and coaching masterclass in that game. And then game two, I thought Coastal was going to have something for them. You got two coaches get tossed in the first inning. One thing led to another. Either way, Jay Johnson validated that 23 championship because a lot of people kind of wrote it off saying, well, look, you got three of the best players in the nation on one team. Of course they're going to win. Well, now he just did it and didn't really have he had great players, don't get me wrong. He's going to have draft picks, but you didn't have that superstar Paul Skeens type player and still was able to go out there and win a natty. So Jay Johnson, third year at LSU, gets his second natty. And in my opinion, Tony V is taking a back seat right now. But I like that. I like that mentality because I think for Tony, his mentality. He's going to be hungry. He wants to be the best. And I think he knows now that Jay Johnson's got that second ring. Tony's going to be looking for that next one. And if you don't believe it, just look at the moves that we're making right now in the offseason. I mean, we're completely flipping the roster. Some of that has to do with the rule changes, right? The money sharing. We're having to cut back on a lot of our rosters. So a lot of these numbers that are hitting the portal are a little bit skewed. It's skewed heavily. But you've seen the portal pickups that were picked. I mean, just massive players. All AAC player. I can't remember his name, but Henry Ford from Virginia we picked up. I mean, just left and right, we're picking up some dogs that are going to be starting day one for Tony V here in the next season. And I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a hungry Vols team.
So kind of moving away from this conversation a little bit, but sticking with baseball. You mentioned the revenue sharing that is going on now, having to lighten the roster a little bit. Two of the players that Tennessee has picked up in the portal this offseason have been two-way players and massive gets for two-way players. Do you think we might see some more two-way players on rosters all across the nation now that the numbers are going to be a little bit smaller? You can't have as many people on the squad. You're having to make sure that you pay these guys that are going to contribute and not have so much depth.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. But I think I don't know how this is going to work out. I think this is going to be a big learning year for every coach in the SEC.
I agree.
With how, at that point, dude, head coaches are more managers now than ever. I mean, at this point, the way they're running their team, the program, everything. I'm very interested to see the balance between bullpen versus position player. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm very intrigued to see how this all works. It's going to be ever changing. I think I heard on the VolQuest, quick plug for those guys, great team. But I heard like the difference, and this is basketball, but just hear me out on how fast this is all changing. Dalton Connect, when he came to Tennessee, committed with only $100,000 NIL deal. Can you believe that? $100,000. And then you have the very next guy in line, who we're still waiting on his name to get called. I'm sure it's going to happen any moment. Chaz Lanier was like $1 million deal in 1 year. So, I mean, I don't know how that's going to differ from baseball. I think one thing Tony Vitello has done really well at is getting eyes on the sport. Dude, Tennessee was not a school you thought of for baseball. I mean, early 2000s, late 90s, yes, but like mid to late thousands into the teen years. I mean, nobody. I mean, we would miss the SEC tournament, and at that time only 12 teams got in, and we would miss the SEC tournament.
Yeah, like I'm just gonna be honest. So I do have a reason for liking them, by the way. So I've got family that lives in South Carolina. And growing up, because Tennessee baseball was unheard of, I was a South Carolina Gamecock baseball.
I'm going to act like you didn't just say that, but okay. I love how you try to validate it, though. Like, you're like, look, I got, I get it. It's fine.
Yeah. So I did have a reason. It's just like the reason I like the St. Louis Cardinals, and most people around here like the Atlanta Braves. I've got family that grew up as St. Louis fans. So I grew up a St. Louis fan.
To be fair, we only like the Atlanta Braves because Morgan Wallen tells us to,
Fair enough.
All right.
But yeah. I mean, Tennessee was an afterthought at baseball. I didn't even know Tennessee had a baseball team whenever I was growing up. That's how bad they were. And you look at South Carolina, they're the last team to win back-to-back national titles. They were one of the best teams other than Vanderbilt when I was growing up. That was, right there each and every year competing for a national title. But now Tony Vitello has taken that team and has turned him into a national title contender year in and year out. And I think he's going to stay at that point, but it's going to be him and Jay Johnson, and then insert name here. I think it's going to be
Schlossnagle, honestly. Like
Schlossnagle is going
as much as I hate that, he's one of the best. I mean,
and as long as Tim Corbin is at Vanderbilt, they're going to be one of those teams as well.
Yeah,
and then you're going to have teams like North Carolina. I cannot remember their coach's name, but North Carolina.
But you gotta put some respect on that team. That team seems to always be in the supers.
Florida State.
Yeah.
I mean, Florida State. They have the most super regionals ever without a national title.
Right.
Just kind of throwing a little shot at Jesse, our friend from the Florida State podcast. Also, continue to draw that line for them. But yeah, you're going to have those teams that year in, year out are going to be there. But I really think that the top tier coaches is going to be Tony Vitello, Jay Johnson, Schlossnagle, that group right there each and every year, as long as they're at their respective schools.
Quick pivot before we end up this segment, but what are the thoughts of a coach that I highly respected for so long, but I feel like has just dropped off a cliff as Florida's head coach?
I figured that's where you were going there.
And what do we think about just his demeanor, attitude, leadership, whatever you want to call it? Just complete 180 from the guy that I grew up thinking that he was one of the best coaches to ever do it.
So I think it's seeing the NIL, the revenue sharing, all this stuff, the transfer portal around him, where when he was dominating the sport with Tim Corbin and all these other guys, they were at the very top, and now everybody else has caught up, and either he hasn't adjusted to it, which I won't say that he hasn't adjusted to it because he's got big name transfers year in and year out, as well.
I mean, he just had one of the best players in the league last year.
Exactly.
I mean,
Jack Caglione.
Yeah, Jack Caglione. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying he's washed by any means, but I feel like, especially if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, like I think it was in the regional, just completely disrespected. Yeah. Was it Coastal? I think it was Coastal Carolina.
It was at Coastal, yeah.
And I don't know. It's just it's crazy the way he treated the players and that team in that situation. I understand being upset about the situation. They delayed the game for Coastal. They had just played a really late game. They delayed the next game the next day about an hour to give those guys just a little bit extra rest over the night. And apparently didn't tell Florida staff that. So they got to the field ready to rock and roll. And you know how their schedules are for game day. Folks watching that I know played every now and again. Like they know, like it's a very tight schedule, and you got a routine, and you don't want to interrupt that routine. And for Florida, that got interrupted. They had like an hour to kind of kill or utilize in some way to stay hot, and it kind of tipped him off the wrong way. But I think he handled it completely the wrong way. I mean, I don't know as a coach. I've never been in that situation, so I don't know how I would have handled it. But I know that way wasn't it, and I don't know. I just hopefully, well, as a Tennessee fan, I hope it is for things to come down the road going south. But who knows? Who knows how he turns that thing around there at Florida? But no, I just wanted to kind of plug that in to show that there are still really good coaches in the SEC that just didn't perform this year the way you kind of thought they would. I mean, Tim Corbin, you brought up Vanderbilt, man. They had a great season. In my opinion, should have never been the number 1 seed.
Agreed.
For the reasons that you've seen. They didn't even make it to their championship game in the regional. But they got hot at the end of the year, and you got to give them credit for that. But that's, again, why I think just because you're playing good at the end of the year doesn't necessarily mean that you're one of the best teams. Yeah, you get hot, but that's baseball. That's basketball, right? Teams get hot at certain times. And but Tim Corbin, you would 100%, even after winning the SEC, I would still think is a disappointing season the way they finished.
Absolutely. I mean, when you look at winning the SEC title game in the tournament, absolutely that's got to be a success. But Vanderbilt as a program, he's won 2 national titles there.
Yes.
The expectation is at the very least, make the College World Series. But really, is it not national title or bust pretty much?
Yeah. I mean, you can't expect that every year, but it's been a while since they won last.
Yeah. I believe it was 2019 or 2017.
They started, I think it was 2017 because they started the run of the SEC schools.
Yeah, 2017. The only one in there that
where they had
was not an SEC team that won it, I believe, was Coastal. Coastal won it in 16.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody won it in 19 that was
probably
not
Virginia
an SEC.
Or something. Maybe Virginia or Wake. No, it wasn't Wake. I don't know. No. I can't think of it.
I can't remember, but yes.
It wasn't North Carolina? No, I don't know.
No. I'd have to look it up. But there was only one in that span that did not that was not an SEC school to win it. And I think national title is the expectation every year for Vanderbilt. And you mentioned it, Vanderbilt got hot at the right time. They got hot too early. And they had some flaws that were figured out in the regional, and those teams took advantage of it. I mean, Wright State,
Oregon really State in 18.
That's right, Oregon State. That's right.
Yep. It was. It went Virginia. It went Vanderbilt, Virginia. I had the wrong timeline there. Vanderbilt, Virginia, and then Coastal, Florida, Oregon State, Vanderbilt. Nothing because of COVID. And then Mississippi State, Ole Miss, LSU, Tennessee, LSU. So there it is.
Yeah, but you bringing up Ole Miss right there, that's a team right there that literally got hot at the right time.
Got in by the skin of the skinny skin. They were the last team in.
They were the last team in and just got hot and just bulldozed their way through everybody en route to a national title. And they were nowhere near the best team in there, but it's a team that gets hot at the right time. And you mentioned it, Vanderbilt, they were nowhere near the best team in the nation this year, but they got hot late, ended up squeaking out a number 1 seed, and then couldn't do anything with it. But you're going to have teams year in and year out that are going to be right there at the top. Jay Johnson and Tony Vitello are going to be at the pinnacle of that list. We've already mentioned Jim Schlossnagle is going to be one of those. Tim Corbin is going to be one of those. What's the guy's name at Florida? I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
If you wouldn't have asked me, I'd have had it. I got you. Hang on, keep talking.
But then you got Dave Van Horn at Arkansas. As long as he's there, he's going to be one of the top coaches in the nation as well. Can't remember Florida State's head coach or North Carolina's head coach, but both of them are fantastic coaches. Oregon State is another one.
Kevin O'Sullivan.
Thank you. Yeah. So, I mean, those coaches are all going to be up there at the top, but absolutely Jay Johnson, Tony Vitello are going to be at the pinnacle. And I think we're going to see several more titles between these two guys in the years to come, with some others sprinkled in there as well.
Right on. Dude, I got nothing left on this topic. I wanted to bring it up because I think it was important. Talk a little bit of baseball as it did officially wrap up with LSU getting that natty They probably won the Jello shot contest by a million because it's usually between LSU and Tennessee when we're in town. But no,
Yeah,
I
but
mean, just,
LSU still they dominate Tennessee when it comes to the Jello shot.
we won it the year we won the World Series. Calm down.
Yeah,
I'm
but
pretty sure we
LSU
did.
wasn't in there.
Well, it doesn't matter, okay? Like we won it. No, but you got to tip your cap to LSU. Man, what a special ride that was there at the end of the year. And Jay Johnson, like I said, it just like validating that first natty with Paul Skeens and company. Being able to follow it up, not even just 2 years later, getting another one. And Tony V got some work to do, man. I think this is going to be cool if we can make a run and not even win it, but just get to like the championship series next year. I mean, people, you know how they talk about Tennessee and Vanderbilt being the SEC champions because it kind of went Vanderbilt, Tennessee, or whatever. You would start talking from a national perspective of how baseball runs through LSU and Tennessee. Like it would be kind of cool to have those type of headlines and eventually, hopefully, just have it be Tennessee at some point. But no, I like it. Tony V is going to be hungry and can't wait to see the boys in action next year.
Absolutely, man. So we're about to move on to segment 2. And before we do that, Skylar, would you like to give us our segment 2 sponsor?
Yeah, absolutely. It is P&L Business Services. We know firsthand that getting your monthly reporting, invoicing, bill pay, taxes, and other essential business services right is critical. That's why at P&L Business Services, we go beyond bookkeeping by providing you with everything you need in your back office so you can have your time back and the peace of mind to do what you love most, which is building your business. Behind every successful business is a great bookkeeper. Trust the folks at P&L Business Services in Oak Ridge, Tennessee as well. And to reach out to them, it's just as simple as going online to pnlbusinessservices.com. They've got all them widgets on that website. If you need anything, they will definitely be able to help you immediately. Do yourself a favor and don't ask for their services in February. You'll get a slap in the face. I'll tell you that right now. I'm joking. They will probably still help you. They just won't be happy about it. But the joke, if you are not getting it, is just tax season and everybody wants to flood the phones then. So no, if you need it, get there early, and then that way they can help you throughout the entire year, and it makes everything so much easier and so much smoother, and they would appreciate that. So, no, we appreciate your continued support, P&O Business Services. Toughest stadiums. So I like this topic for one reason. So EA College Football 26 just released its toughest places to play. Now, it's a video game. Make what you want out of it. But Tennessee wasn't even in the top 10.
And that's 2 years in a row.
What,
I want to give
stadium?
up. I want to give a shout out to Dallin in the TikTok chat as he was talking earlier. You know, Tennessee holds the record for the highest decibel ever during a college football game. And that means something. I mean, we've had people like Baker Mayfield. We've had people like Brady Quinn. Numerous people have said, you know, Neyland Stadium is the loudest stadium I've ever played in. I believe it was Baker Mayfield. No, sorry, it was Brady Quinn back. This is during the Eric Ainge days, man. We're going back a ways. He said that at one point during that game, his center turned around and looked at him and said, "Dude, the ball is moving." Like the stadium was so loud and rocking so much that without putting his hand on it, that ball was moving on the ground. So that just shows you how loud it is. And that definitely means something. He also brought up the 22 Alabama game. The fans impacted that game many different times. I mean, I'm thinking of one drive in the first quarter where Alabama was backed up deep in their own territory, got 3 false start penalties? I mean, that was 100% on the fans by the Alabama players not being able to hear the snap count, either jumping early or getting it was actually delay a game or false start right there, 3 in a row down inside the 10-yard line. So things like that is some of the things that make it hard to play. And Tennessee is absolutely one of the toughest places in the nation to play in.
Oh, yeah. So I have a hard time ranking because I can't find how I would like to rank them. So in my opinion, toughest stadiums doesn't necessarily just mean record, because I have a clear and vast difference between TikTok, Tennessee fan. What's up, man? There's a clear difference between a good team and then home field advantage. There's a clear difference. And the way I like to differentiate is, yeah, I mean, sure, a team can win every single home game because they're a freaking good team. All right. I think of like Alabama, Georgia, whatnot. But are they really getting that much help from their crowd? And here's how I would answer that. How many penalties are being forced in the game on the away team? How many delay of games? How many false starts are being caused because the crowd is just so loud that you literally have no idea what's going on when you're on the field? I think of Alabama, Tennessee last year. Think about the very first series when Alabama and Jalen Milroe were on the field. And like, I think it was the very first play was a false start.
Mhm.
And then they immediately get set behind the chains. And then I don't know how it happened, but at some point it was a third down, and I think they fumbled the ball because they were trying to rush to not get a delay a game or something. Like it's things like that completely, like that to me, I'm like, okay, Tennessee's got a great defense, but like that was completely on the fans. Like 100%, that was home field advantage. And so I'm going to try to rank my places top 10, not based on who's got the best team, but who's seriously got the best home field advantage when it comes to their fans affecting the game.
Yeah, and
Agreed or not?
Oh, absolutely. And I was looking at my list here, making sure that I was good with what I wanted. And my number 10, I'll go first on this one if you want me to.
Go for it.
My number 10, I just swapped because you talking through that, I was like, you know what? My number 10 does not embody that. And I'll give you a spoiler.
So I was speaking some facts and whatnot.
Well, I'll give you a spoiler who my number 10 was before I changed it. It was Sanford Stadium, which is Georgia.
Okay.
And Georgia does get loud. Georgia is also very good at home. That is due to coaching, due to the team, and all that. But Georgia's crowd does not induce a ton of those penalties, like the false starts and things like that. And by no means am I saying that Georgia is not loud. I mean, they proved that in 22 whenever Eric Ainge, came out famous on the radio and said, "Oh, the Vols will be fine in Athens." Georgia fans showed out on that one, and Athens is loud, but the fans don't make that as tough a place to play as the team itself and as the coaching staff does. So my number 10, because of the fans, how rowdy they get, they have the infamous, the tomahawk chop. It is Doak Walker Stadium for Florida State.
I respect that take because, man, I don't know how you picked that stadium after last year's performance. But again, that's a bad team, not bad home field advantage. I think you're 100% right. It is a raucous environment. And yeah, that's very solid. I'm going to go straight into mine. My number 10 is Willie B. Stadium. Williams-Brice Stadium, Sandstorm. Yeah, dude, that place at night is very underrated. I hate South Carolina. I could care less for them. I think it has a lot to do with the previous coach there. You know who I'm talking about. But there's no denying when they play Darude Sandstorm, it's the most annoying thing ever when the freaking Gamecock or the Rooster does its crow thing on third down. Like it's annoying, but it's loud and it affects the game, and it's a very underrated home field advantage that I don't think gets talked about enough.
I mean, just look at I absolutely hate bringing this game up. 2022, Tennessee, South Carolina.
Why? Why would you bring it up? I don't feel like you hate bringing it up when you just brought it up that easily. Like I don't. It's fine.
I absolutely hate it, but
I
mean, the crowd absolutely played a part in that because South Carolina, they started off early.
They fed off of that.
Hot,
they fed off
of it, and Tennessee just couldn't keep up.
That's right.
Not going to mention what else happened there. So, my number 9 on the list, going with one of the biggest stadiums in college football. They have some very weird traditions, but you know what? It gets loud there. It's College Station in Texas A&M.
Ooh, at 9?
At 9.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go right in. My number 9. All right, so 10 was Willie B. Number 9 is the Big House. It's Michigan. It's not really a debate. I think it's firmly in the top 10. Wouldn't give it too much love, but I mean, I hate to say this, but you really only see it at its best when they play Ohio State. But oh my God, is it their best? Like it
Absolutely.
is. That place is crazy when they're playing Ohio State. So yeah, Michigan, the Big House. especially when it's that cold, usually when they're playing each other, and they're more raucous. I don't know. It's phenomenal. I think I would like to see it in person, but I'm pretty well thinking that I've seen about the biggest and best environments here at home.
Yeah.
But it's still, TV does it very, very well. Fox, whoever covers that game, it you talk about shaking. I don't know if they purposely shake the camera, but it gives off the vibe that they are absolutely going bonkers. So yeah, Big House, Michigan, number 9.
Yeah. My number 8, I'm going with another ACC school, and there's really only one other one that you can bring up when it comes to what the crowd does to affect the game, and that is Clemson. And they've also been very good as of recently as well, which makes it that much better because the team's been good, which makes them hard to beat at home. The fans feed off of that. Death Valley, Clemson, that is number 8 on my list for the toughest stadiums to play.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I'm going to go my number 8. Where do I want to go with this? I think I didn't make my list. I'm kind of shooting from the hip here. But I think my number 8 is, I'm going to shoot for it. It's probably getting too much love for me on this one, but I'm going to go Jordan Hare at Auburn is my number 8.
Yeah.
It's hard to think about it right now because the team's down. But the place is still hard to play. Ask Georgia. Even Georgia in their best years and Auburn's worst years, Auburn still somehow pushes them to the brink.
Ask Alabama and Alabama. Yeah.
Ask Alabama. When that stadium gets up, man, are they up, and it affects the game in a big way. And magical things happen in Jordan Hare. Well, not last year, but most of the time.
I mean, just think of the different amazing moments. Hold up. So, breaking news real quick. Tennessee guard Chaz Lanier has been selected by the Detroit Pistons in round 2 of the NBA draft. So, was
that pick 37? Because that was like the exact projection I was hearing was the 5th pick.
Now, it didn't pull up which pick it was. It just said drafted by the Pistons.
Well, I was listening to thank you so much for that update. But I was listening to a sports talk show this morning, and they were like, he's projected the 5th pick in the 2nd round to go to the Detroit Pistons. So I wonder if that was pick 37. But either way, that's huge. I mean, right at the top of the 2nd round, that's probably fair. I don't think he was first round material. He's got the talent. Don't get me wrong, but he'll be in the league.
I agree. But going back to Jordan Hare, you just think of all the different moments that have happened in the past, 10, 15 years. You got the Prairie O'Hare against Georgia. I remember watching that game. I believe that was en route to was that the same season as the Kick Six? Did both of those happen in the same season? Because wasn't that the year that they made the national title game and lost to Florida State, led by Jameis Winston?
Was it Nick Marshall?
Nick Marshall. Yes.
It might have been.
I believe both of those happened in the same year because it was within a couple of weeks too. And it's how lucky can Auburn get? But yeah, just Auburn's definitely a tough place to play. So that's a good one at number 8 there. Number 7, I'm gonna go with an SEC school that the fans get rowdy, but also you think about the environment there and just how tough it is to play in it, especially in the warmer months of September, and I'll even throw in October there as well. It is the Swamp. The Swamp is a tough place to play. I mean, you see, it's got to be tough because even in some of Florida's worst years, Tennessee has gone down there, been a better team, and gotten beat. They have yet to win in the Swamp since the year 2003, 22 years ago.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna lie. That was my number 7. So I'm gonna keep on. I'm gonna just go with a 6. The Swamp is very much validated. That is. I don't know what more you can say. No team wishes to be there in September or October.
And it sucks that Tennessee always had to go there in September.
Not this year. We're going in November, baby. I don't know why, but I'll take it. Any little bit helps. You know what I mean? All right. So my number 6. I think it's a safe pick. But I'm gonna go with, and I hate to give them credit, But I mean, Bryant-Denny is pretty nice. I mean, they have a good home field advantage. They got a good crowd. They got great teams. I think that does help a lot. But I think they're also a bit entitled. If you could ever be like Joe Burrow and get up on them nice in the first half or something, boy, you could shut them down in a heartbeat. I've never seen a fan base cross so much so early. But Tennessee doesn't Tennessee doesn't do that often. They did with Milton. They got up 20-7 going in a half, and then you see what happened in the second half.
Don't remind me.
But you made me remember South Carolina, big dog. You can handle
That's
that
fair.
game.
Yeah.
So Bryant-Denny is going to be my number 6. It is a solid home field advantage.
Bryant-Denny didn't make my list.
That's okay. I never said that your list was good, so I mean it's fine.
It's not good, but also, and not saying that Bryant-Denny doesn't get loud, but I feel like there's a lot of other stadiums that get louder, and Alabama's home field advantage was so good because of how good they were under Nick Saban, which is the only reason they didn't make my list. If they continue to stay loud, even through the Kalen DeBoer years, if they continue to, I won't say struggle, but not meet expectations, then I will absolutely change that list to put Alabama higher on it. But right now, that's why they don't make my top 10. My number 6, this is where I've got the big house, Michigan. Skylar already mentioned a lot of the points. They really, really get up for that one game, and that is the game against Ohio State. It's an environment that I would actually like to experience. I would probably like to experience the horseshoe a little bit more, just because I would rather root for Ohio State than
Let me tell
Michigan.
you this.
So
You don't want to experience in December 20th.
You did get to experience that. So.
Respect. I had a player watching earlier that played that night, and I loved watching him. I would watch him over and over and over again. But I tell you what, in 5-degree weather and you're getting blown out by 30 points, let me tell you, that was that place was rocking, dude.
Yeah, but the Big House, that's where I have them at number 6. And there's a reason that they are called the Big House. It's the biggest stadium in college football right now. And they do get up for other games, but they really get up and going for that Ohio State game. So that's why I have the Big House at number 6.
Number 5. You already said it, but that is Kyle Field, College Station. Look, that place sits, I think, the most fans. They get the absolute most rowdy. I hate their yell leader things, but whatever. They are very loud. They deserve to be in the top 5. They do change a complexity of a game. If you don't believe me, just watch the Texas A&M game. I mean, I know that's like the extreme, but that's what we're talking about here. When the stadium is at its best, how good is it? And Texas A&M is in the top 5, in my opinion. It's an amazing field built by none other than Johnny Manziel, but we ain't going to talk about that. What a crowd. And, to your point about Alabama only being loud when Alabama's good, Texas A&M is loud, and their best years are 9-4. I mean, they're like literally copy and paste mid-20 teens Tennessee, where we were rambunctious for an 8-4 year. And that's exactly what A&M's been, and they're still loud as anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 5 on my list, I've got Death Valley and LSU. And you can argue that this should be higher on the list, but I feel like I've got a good list that's ahead of it. But Death Valley, as long as you don't get them at noon, because you can absolutely go down there and win and dominate at noon, as Tennessee did in 2022. But
it kind of helped that we got a fumble on the kickoff to start the game. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but here's the point I'm getting to. If you get them at noon and you don't get them at 3:00, and especially don't get them at 7:00, those Cajuns down there can't get drunk out of their minds and just go crazy. They got to build up to it, and they hadn't had enough time by the time noon rolls around. So,
but at their best,
they are absolutely one of the loudest, one of the most rambunctious environments out there, which is why LSU made my top 5. And like I said, you can arguably put this one higher, possibly even at number 1. But I've got LSU at number 5 on my list.
Possibly at number 1. Number 4 is the Horseshoe. OSU. I did get to experience this one in person in a time where, as a away team, you did not want to experience it. The crowd's insane. They're I am not to say jealous, but I loved their their chants OHIO, right? So like they have each side of the stadium say a letter and it kind of goes in a circle. So like you'd have, home field side say O, and then the end zone H, other side I, and then O, and then they just kind of kept going around. And then they do it like 3 times and you're like, okay, all right. And then they do it like 4 times. And it's like, dang, when are they going to stop? And there's like 7 times. And it's like, oh my God, it's just not going to stop. And they just kept freaking doing it. Again, sorry, it's bringing back some old memories. But like, it was kind of cool. They were crazy. They were rambunctious. It was freezing cold. It didn't matter. They're used to it. I get it. But I experienced the Horseshoe. It was top 5 material. It was solid. It was great. It was big, but I feel like there is some wasted space in that because of the Horseshoe structure. I feel like there's wasted space. They could pack a lot more people in there if they just like finish it. But for what they've got and how they do it and the way they keep it original, it's a solid place to play.
Number 4 on my list, I'm going with Autzen Stadium out in Eugene, Oregon.
No shot. No, this is the first hell. Excuse me. Heck no. Absolutely not. A stadium that holds 60,000 people?
But do you know how loud those 60,000 get
No,
out there?
I don't care. That's because they're 15,000 feet of elevation. No shot. It's
But
fine.
they
Your
absolutely
opinion
make a
matters.
difference
I
out
respect it, but absolutely not.
So Autzen Stadium makes my list at number 4 there because of how rambunctious
put that
that
over
60,000
LSU?
gets. That is probably a hot take. I should have put Autzen down below LSU, but I've got Oregon at number 4 there because of how loud that 60,000 gets out there, which totally affects the game. And plus, it's very hard to win out in Oregon because of the environment as well. You mentioned how high they are in elevation. The team is always good out there as well. It's so hard to win at Autzen Stadium. So they make it at number 4 on my list.
Just expected better out of you. I mean, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed, Like, I just want you to know. That's crazy.
That's fine.
Number 3 is very specific, but it is the whiteout Penn State. The whiteout game in particular. But is it Beaver Stadium?
Yeah, Beaver Stadium.
The whiteout version of Beaver Stadium is top 3 material. That is just the scene, everything about it. I don't know. It's iconic, and shame on James Franklin for having everything at your fingertips except making a run for a natty, or beating Ohio State. But whatever. Beaver Stadium, number 3.
So I'll move on to number 2 here in just a minute because my number 3 is also Beaver Stadium.
Hey.
And I'm not just going to go with the whiteout because, I mean, the whiteout is something that absolutely has to be experienced. And
It's like not equivalent to, but kind of like the checker kneeling thing.
Yes. I mean, you're right. It's different, but it's similar as far as, what it means. But they do get up and they get loud for the other games as well. And then if you're not Ohio State, if you're not Michigan, how many teams have actually come into Beaver Stadium and won in, forever? It's not many of them.
No. I mean, Penn State has been a comfortable 3rd place team in the Big Ten forever.
Yes. So Beaver Stadium, number 3 on my list. So I'm going to move ahead to number 2, and that is where I have Neyland Stadium. Obviously because of how loud it gets in there. I mean, we've already mentioned they hold the record for the highest decibel count ever recorded at a college football game.
And you still put them at number 2.
I did. I put them at number 2.
That's the second disappointment. That's straight 2.
Because, granted, you think of how bad a lot of the teams have been, but how many teams can still come into Neyland Stadium and, sneak out a win? not in the Josh Heupel era, mind you. The only team that's been able to do that
Georgia.
is Georgia.
Yeah,
That's the only team.
that is
But
the
you-
only team.
But you think about going back even to whenever Philip Fulmer was a head coach. There'd be teams like Georgia or Florida or Alabama that would come in there and still sneak out a win, even with that rambunctious environment. So that's the only thing keeping them from number one on my list, is because even though it is so tough to play there, teams still can come in and have success, just not as of lately, unless you're Georgia.
Yeah, and
So-
before all the haters and fact checkers come in, I do understand that Josh Heupel went 7-6 in the first year, but like we had like a 30-something some-odd schedule scholarship deficit. Like that doesn't count. Ever since the 2021 season, Josh Heupel's been money at home, to be honest with you. What, he went undefeated last year at home. He
Only
lost
one loss the year. No,
one loss to Georgia, and they 8-4 year, right?
let's see. Yes.
Because he lost to Alabama on the road, Florida on the
Yep.
road, South Carolina, Missouri on the road. I don't know. I can't remember the fourth team. But anyways, so yeah. And then the year before that, we only lost to Georgia at home. And then
Yeah.
South Carolina on the road. So yeah. No, that's a solid. I was disappointed in you because you can tell the top three were locked in, because that is my number 2. Is UT. Solely because I didn't want to be a homer and just put him at number 1, but I do feel like Neyland is the best environment in college football. If you haven't experienced Neyland, go. You're don't go on like a Florida week. It's pretty hostile, but only because Florida makes it. It's not like we I don't know, whatever. Just go any other week.
Even if you go to a ETSU or a Ball State or something like that, for the first half of the game, it is absolutely unreal.
It's really
Now the second half is not because the stadium's half empty, but because Tennessee's up by 50 at that point.
no. You know just as much as I do. It doesn't matter who's on the other side of that sideline. That first drive when we're on defense,
Yes,
my
gets
God,
loud.
it literally does not matter who we're playing. It could be UT Martin for all I care. And that first possession for UT Martin, they might as well just punt on first down. Like it is terrible. So yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and go to my number 1. I have to like click on like TikTok to verify I'm still here. That's so dumb. But anyways, sorry, I just read a comment on TikTok that made me chuckle a little bit. Anyways, I'm gonna go to my number 1, and that is, you've already mentioned it. It's Death Valley. It's LSU, the real Death Valley, not Clemson. That place at night, in my opinion, it deserves to be number 1. It's one of the best, and I will say this, for the longevity of the program and whatnot, and like it's been the best. Like it's not like up and coming; it's just taken over. I think for the longest of times, and you can even ask Nick Saban this, going to Baton Rouge at night, there's just not much better than it. A bunch of raging Cajun. I can't say that because that's another Louisiana school, but a bunch of Cajuns, Louisiana folk.
A bunch of drunk Cajuns.
Yeah. That's why I said raging, because but I realize that that's a mascot of another team. But no, I like there's just not much. And then the Tiger, I can't remember the name of the Tiger, but the Tiger,
Mike the Tiger.
I should have known that. Having him, I don't know, like just everything about that environment, even when they've not been great. And to be honest with you, in my opinion, under Brian Kelly, they've been okay, but they've not been great. And they still like seem, I mean, I don't know. I feel like Brian Kelly's under a lot of pressure this year. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, LSU's got my top spot.
And see, the only reason I didn't have LSU higher as well is I feel like just over the last couple of years, the environment has fell off slightly.
Well,
And I don't know if it's because of LSU not being as good or what it is. Now,
I think
they did show up for, I think it was the Ole Miss game when they brought the live Tiger out again, the first time they've done that in years.
Yep.
But other than that,
can we be honest?
Not that it's been a disappointment, but it just hadn't been to that level that we used to see growing up.
Can I be honest?
Environment.
Do we think the leadership of LSU, when they decided to move on from Coach O immediately after Natty, just because they did have a down year, Do you think some folks, especially fans, kind of felt rubbed the wrong way about that decision and kind of like, not that they've fallen off, they're never going to stop cheering for their team, but almost especially right after, like, I feel like Joe Burrow and his like Heisman was basically like, Coach O deserves a job for life. This dude is literally pulled me from being a third, fourth stringer at Ohio State to being the Heisman front runner, national championship type. Like, that's the type of coach he is. And then not even 12 months later get canned because they did have a down year. But you had a guy like Joe Burrow. I mean, it's not easy to recruit quarterbacks behind a guy that you know is the crap. And so, not that I'm giving excuses for him, but Coach O, who really fit. I mean, just he was LSU, right? Like everything about him. And so I almost feel like that the fan base, I don't know, they kind of like lost a little bit of its luster when they lost their coach, in my opinion.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, even going down to, he was LSU. I mean, the dude literally spoke like a Cajun guy. I mean, go Tigers. I mean, he embodied it. So I do think you hit the nail on the head there. There was, some luster that was lost from fans there at LSU whenever that happened. Do I think that they made the right decision moving on from Orgeron? Yes, but not the way that they did. I don't feel like Orgeron is a fantastic coach or even a great coach, but he had the right set of circumstances, the right players around him,
right
and just ran
that
too, and just ran roughshod over the entire league with arguably one of, if not the best team of all time, en route to a national championship. But I absolutely do think that they could have gone about it better and not fired him the year after just because of a down season, especially with that year being a COVID year. I mean, what do you expect going into a COVID year like that? But my number one is where I've got the horseshoe. And the reason I have them at number one.
Be kidding me.
The reason I have them at number one
because they won the Natty and you're riding.
No, absolutely not.
Whatever.
Absolutely not. It is because Ohio State is always good, whether that be coaching, whether that be the players, whatever that may be. But you look at this past year, you talked about just how rambunctious that environment was, and especially with it being on December the 20th, it was just miserable. But also, over half of the fan base was ready to absolutely, they were ready to riot over the fact that Ryan Day still had a job because of the outcome of the game just weeks earlier. But they were still there. They were ready to cheer on their team.
60% of them.
Make it the loudest environment. But
it was pretty loud for 60%.
But I was going to say, how loud was that 60%?
No, it was decent. I'll give them credit for that, but they still didn't show up.
Yeah. So I mean, that's why I have Ohio State at number one, is because of how passionate that fan base is, even when they're not happy with some of the decisions being made around them.
Oh, it wasn't decisions. It's just they can't be they can't be Michigan.
Yeah. So I mean,
that is something that's still gonna hang over Rondé's desk. They won a Natty, and it's gonna have an asterisk, and it's gonna be lost to the team up north. That's tough.
I mean, there is still people that say fire Ryan Day because they lost to that team up north.
It like puts a stain on that brand new trophy, bro.
I will say, so I talked to Eric here recently, and I said, so is Chris finally come down off his fire Ryan Day high? He said, I've got him down off the high for right now, but one loss that Ohio State should not have this year, and he's going to be right back on that train.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, dude, any final thoughts on this one before we move on to the top 10 quarterbacks? I mean, we got Brody in the chat, dude. Brody, what's up, man? Thank you for tuning in on YouTube. What were your Ohio State game expectations? I'll be 100% honest with you. I was hoping to win, but I didn't think we were going to get beat the way we did. I mean, I thought even if we lost, it'd be a good game, close game, and yeah, I mean, my expectations, I'll be honest with you, man. I thought Ohio State was going to be in the dumps after that Michigan game. I thought Ryan Day wasn't that guy, and I thought we had a great chance to come in there and win the game. We said it. I mean, we still have our videos up. We eat what we say. We own it. Definitely shocked, but I wasn't totally surprised, if I'm being honest, as a Tennessee fan. If you notice, our final games of the seasons for like every sport this last year were complete blowouts. Think about basketball, ladies and
except
men's.
for it. Well, for basketball, that one wasn't a blowout at the end. That was just that was a close.
Dude, we
loss
lost by
to the
19
Texas.
points.
Not to Texas, not in the tournament.
Basketball,
Women's basketball.
women's basketball, maybe not that bad. Okay.
Women's sports did not get blown out in their final game, but men's sports, yes. Football, you lost by what? 30?
I don't know. It wasn't
20
that
20
bad.
something.
Maybe 20 something.
Men's basketball, you got beat by 19, 20 plus, and then baseball, you just got absolutely curb stomped by Arkansas.
Yeah. So I mean, it's funny how it worked out that way in the academic year of sports in that calendar that we just got blown out. But I was expecting a little bit more of a fight. But I mean, it is what it is.
I had the same expectations. I mean, I had a feeling that Tennessee would go in and lose. I was hoping for a win. I didn't expect us to get just run out of the stadium the way that Tennessee did. And, I still think Ohio State wins the ball game, but I go back and I look at that first drive of the game where, Tennessee, they converted on, I believe it was on third down, and then it got pulled back because of a penalty. And from there, Tennessee just had no momentum. Ohio State took advantage of it and just ran roughshod all over Tennessee. So the outcome necessarily didn't surprise me, but my expectations were to come in and at least have a close game in that one. But it is what it is. It doesn't always work out that way. But
give us our final sponsor, man. Let's talk about quarterbacks and let's get to bed, man. It's late on a weekday,
Absolutely,
Eastern
man.
time. Eastern time.
Our segment 3 sponsor, that is Kaizen Painting. Do you want a colorful life? Kaizen is a painting and drywall company that provides residential, commercial, exterior, and interior services. At Kaizen Painting, we understand the importance of a beautifully painted home and properly installed and repaired drywall. We're here to bring your vision to life. We care about providing you with a personalized, efficient, and quality service. If you live in Knoxville and surroundings, contact us for a free estimate at KaizenPainting.com. Color your life the Kaizen way. SEC quarterback rankings. We could have gone 1 through 16 on this to cover all 16 teams, but I'll just be honest. There's a couple of teams, for instance, Kentucky, Missouri, Ole Miss. I don't really know who their quarterbacks are.
So we're going to go who our quarterback is, to be honest with you.
We're going to go 1 through 10 on the SEC quarterback list.
SEC or national quarterback list?
SEC.
Threw me a dang gum curveball. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know quarterbacks for other teams. I just know SEC teams.
Buddy, the one thing I had a list on, and you just absolutely changed it up on me. That's fine. I should be able to still do this. Top 10 quarterbacks in the SEC?
Top 10.
Is there a top 10? Are we sure about this?
I mean, it's probably just a top 5, but I made a top 10 list.
No, that's fine. I like it. All right. You want to start with 10?
Yep, start with number 10. Number 10, that is where I've got Joey Aguilar. Joey Aguilar, he is a experienced quarterback coming in. He just doesn't have that Power 5 or SEC experience, which is why he starts so low on the list. But I do believe that he fits Josh Heupel's offense in a good way, and I think he's going to have success this year. But without seeing that product on the field, that's why I have him at number 10 on my list, Joey Aguilar.
Let me be honest with you. Before I do the SEC thing, because I really was proud of the one guy that I had in my top 10 nationally, because I think he deserves it. So I'm going to throw his name out there. He was number 10 on my national ranking, but Haynes King from Georgia Tech.
I think he absolutely deserves that.
100% deserves it. I seen a ranking that they did the top 25, and he didn't even make the top 25 and I was like, dude, this is so incredible. Like, no way. But yeah, Haynes King. I just want to throw his name out there for absolutely no reason other than the fact that I was proud that I had him on my list. Number 10 in the SEC. Number 10 in the SEC. A lot of this is whack because, man, we're going so much off of projection here. But I think I am going to go with. It's not Joey Aguilar. I think he's actually a touch above. But I'm going to go with the presumed starter. And I'm pretty sure he will be the starter. Is right. No, maybe not. Yeah, he will be. Jackson Arnold, Auburn. I'm going to go with Jackson Arnold at number 10. He's going to be the starter. I mean, that's why he went to Auburn, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Didn't have a great year at Oklahoma last year. Was he a true freshman or redshirt freshman? I think he was a redshirt freshman because he started the bowl game before.
He was a redshirt freshman because you had true freshmen.
Yeah. Him and Nico are the same class.
Yes.
But
yes, they were.
You had a kid that was going in and really got judged against one of the best defenses in the league, but it was just early in the year, and he didn't have a great game. Like, let's be honest. He played like crap against Tennessee, and a lot of that's Tennessee's fault. But he got benched for a true freshman, and I felt like the coaching staff kind of did him a little wrong there. But who's to say? I don't know. But he transferred to Auburn. The only thing is Hugh Freeze used to be the quarterback whisperer, right? Had a run of 3 or 4 quarterbacks that just played out of their minds, carried Ole Miss to some really good runs. But I feel like he's lost his touch a little bit. He hasn't had a good quarterback in I don't know how long, to be honest with you. So who knows? Can he develop Jackson Arnold? I don't know, but it's at least a comfortable name that I'm familiar with. I know he'll win the job, and I think 10 is a good spot for him.
My number 9 on the list, I'm going with Oklahoma quarterback. And, we spoke earlier about Oklahoma, and I thought it was going to be Michael. I can't remember his last name now, the guy that took over the job from Jackson Arnold. But I forgot about the fact that they got a transfer quarterback from Washington State, John Mateer. And he played very well out of Washington State. Granted, it was basically a group of 5 schedule that he played this past year. So that's also at the spot of, he's experienced, but he hasn't done it at this level. But I think, and this is a big if, as long as Brent Venables allows the offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach to do their job and him not micromanage everything, I think John Mateer can have a good season this year, but he's got to prove it to me first. So I have him slightly above Joey Aguilar, but really they could be interchangeable at that point. But I've got John Mateer at number 9.
Right on. My number 9 is Ole Miss quarterback Austin Simmons. I think you got a little bit of a sample size of him last year, just when Jackson Dart got like a little banged up from play to play. I think he's flashy. I think he's going to have a lot to prove and play for, and I think he's going to kind of surprise people. Lane Kiffin, on the other hand, has been really good with quarterbacks, so I think if he's earned the trust to be in that starting role for Ole Miss, you can expect big things from Austin Simmons.
Yeah, and see, I don't know a whole lot about Austin Simmons, but he was right there on my fringe of, kind of that John Mateer, Joey Aguilar type spot right there. If we had to go 1 through 16, I would have him at 11.
He's dual threat, and I think that's what in today's game of college football, you got to have a dual threat guy to give yourself a chance. And Austin Simmons is that guy that I think you're going to see rush for. I mean, as a quarterback, you could probably see him rush for 60, 70 yards a game this year. I really, truly believe that.
Yeah. My number 8 on the list, this is where I have Diego Pavia. And, you got the Vanderbilt fan, maybe 2, 3 fans, however many there are out there that would say, oh, he should be top 5 on the list. You know what? For what he does for your team, yeah, he could be top 5 on that list. But Vanderbilt's not leading you anywhere. Or he's not going to lead Vanderbilt anywhere. They're not going to run college football, anything like that. Is he a good quarterback? Yes. Is he a great quarterback? Absolutely not. If he was to play for, let's just say, Alabama, LSU, Georgia, somebody like that, he'd be fine, but he wouldn't be a great quarterback. But because of what he does to build the players around him at Vanderbilt, he's good, but he's not that good. So he's right in the middle of the pack. I've got him at number 8 on my list.
My number 8 is Joey Aguilar. And here's the funny thing about Joey Aguilar being 8. One, I don't necessarily know he's going to be the starter. I have a great idea that I think he will be. Just from things that I'm hearing around campus. I think from the hype that you're hearing, not necessarily hype, but just the assumption that he's the older guy coming in and he's going to be the starter. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. But I think Joey Aguilar is the 8th best quarterback with the potential to have the numbers like a top 3 quarterback in the league. I think Josh Heupel's system, if he can grasp it, he doesn't necessarily have to be the third best quarterback in the league. In fact, he probably truly will never be the top 3 quarterback in the league, but he'll have the numbers to say that he's the top 3 quarterback in the league. And I'm kind of excited and interested to see how this all plays out because, like I said, I think talent-wise, he is a little careless with the football at times, but I think it's because he tries so hard for his team. If we can kind of work on that, just have him, throw it to the reads, read the defense correctly, read options, just choosing the right play. It's all decision making. Like as long as his decision making is solid, he gets the ball out of his hands and he's not making dumb throws and overthrowing everybody about, left and right. Cause guys are going to get open in this offense. That is proven. That's a fact.
Yep.
If you could just hit on 50% of them, this dude is going to have a top 3 in the SEC caliber stat wise season. And I wouldn't necessarily say that he's the third best quarterback in the league, if that makes sense. So I got him at number 8. I'm really intrigued to see how this season plays out for him.
Yeah. And, Blue Ring Rhymer on TikTok, he's got to hit the deep wide open shots this year.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's what made Hendon Hooker so good was, he would hit those shots. He didn't have to fit the ball in tight spaces all the time. He hit those shots.
Or purposely back shoulder it. Force a penalty. Like, dude, give your guy a chance, right? And when you overthrow it, you don't even give it. And they're running away from the defender, so you can't get that contact to draw a flag. So, I mean, yeah, you got to give them a chance.
Yeah, you've got to hit those shots. Absolutely. Number 7 on my list. This is where I have Arch Manning. The hype is there's so much hype around Arch Manning. I mean, he's being talked about as possibly a Heisman Trophy contender this year. You know what? He absolutely could be that. But he does not have the experience on the field yet. And I cannot have him any higher than 7 when I look down the rest of this list and I see guys that have played quarterback in the SEC and been a starter in the SEC. This is his first year as a starter. Now, did he get to play in some games last year? Did he get to start a game or two because Quinn Ewers is down with injury? Yes, but he wasn't at that highest level last year. He still has some things to learn, and I think by the end of the year, Arch Manning can be in that top 3 on the list. He might be number 1 on the list, but right now I cannot put him at number 1 on the list. I can't put him in the top 5. He is at number 7 on my list just because he hasn't done it yet.
That's solid. My number 7 is Diego Pavia. I think the kid's extremely mid, except he has a great attitude when it comes to he's got a competitor's mindset, right? It's great to have. I think you put that kid on a bigger team, and he's really not as much as he is at Vanderbilt. But I think that's why he shines so well at Vanderbilt is because he can be the MVP of the team. He can be that leader. I know it sounds a little harsh, but I really think there's a lot of truth to what I'm saying here. You put that kid on a stacked team, I don't think he's the standout that everybody thinks he is.
I completely agree with you.
I think he would try to be and force himself into mistakes just like he did at Tennessee. When he played Tennessee, I mean, he had 1 touchdown. I think he had 2 interceptions, and the dude got 8 in the backfield. I mean, we absolutely clobbered him all game long. So I think he's extremely mid, a little bit overhyped, very much arrogant. But I think that's a part of his play, right? That's part of his role. It's honestly what he's getting paid for. So Diego Pavia is my number 7.
Yep. Number 6 on my list, and this is a guy that I feel like he could absolutely be number 1 on the list. He could be in the bottom 3 of the list by the end of the season, just based on what he does this year. It could go vastly different directions. It's Garrett Nussmeier at LSU. And we've already heard Brian Kelly talk about how, one throw, he'll be on the money. Next throw, he's throwing it into the bleachers. He's also a pro-style quarterback that is a pocket-type quarterback. He's not going to scramble the way you see a lot of players nowadays. He's not that true dual threat or anything. Now, he can get out of the pocket when needed, but he doesn't like to. Garrett Nussmeier is at number 6. Like I said, he's got plenty of room to climb, and he could be at the top of the SEC, or he could fall off the table. I already made a hot take last week that he's going to get benched by the end of the year. And you agree with me that that's not much of a hot take just because of, what we've heard lately and what we've seen on the field from him. So Garrett Nussmeier, number 6 on the list, I think is a good starting point when you look at the rest of the SEC quarterbacks, their experience and all that stuff around it.
Right on. My number 6 is a guy that you've seen take the field for the first time last year and had some highs of highs and had some lows of lows. It's Marcel Reed. Texas A&M. The kid makes plays that you're just like, oh my gosh, that kid is legit. And then he makes some plays that's like Will Levis-ish at the Tennessee Titans, and you're just like, what was he doing? I mean, I don't know, but if they can find some consistency and find that all-star style of Marcel Reed, watch out. That kid's, I mean, knocking on the doorstep of a top 5 quarterback in the league, going into a second full year.
Yeah. So top 5 now, my number 5, this is where I have Jackson Arnold. I personally think he got hosed at Oklahoma. He got benched.
I think that.
I think he, not that he was mistreated, but he wasn't used properly and he wasn't given the chance to show what he could do. I felt like they gave up on him too early. And, you mentioned it earlier that Hugh Freeze, he used to be known as a quarterback whisperer. I'm not going to say he's lost his touch, but I feel like he's had a bad run of quarterbacks not panning out the way they needed to. Peyton Thorne being the most recent one on that list. But I think that Jackson Arnold is going to pair well with Hugh Freeze, and they've got a fantastic set of young receivers on that team that I feel like are just waiting for a quarterback that can get them the ball. And he's also that true dual threat type quarterback. I mean, you look at what he did to Alabama last year on the ground at Oklahoma. I mean, he didn't beat Alabama through the air. He literally, he run for like 130 yards or something on the ground, like 2 or 3 touchdowns in that.
He went crazy, dude.
Yeah, it was unbelievable what he did.
He did that and then said, "Peace, Oklahoma."
Yeah, so I think that Jackson Arnold is going to have a good year. I'm not going to sit here and say that by the end of the year he's going to be a top 3 quarterback, but I think that he will stay around this top 5 mark like I have him right now. So Jackson Arnold, I am a believer in him. We'll see what Hugh Freeze can get out of him. We'll see what the rest of the team can do around him, but I've got him at number 5 on my list starting the season.
Right on. Top 5 for me. I'm starting at number 5, Arch Manning. Look, I'm not a hater. The kid's last name's Manning. Have you ever met a bad Manning at quarterback? I haven't.
Eli.
He's not a bad Manning.
I'm just kidding.
Bro,
Eli's a good quarterback.
He owns Tom Brady, dog. Like, come on. Look, I'm not a hater. I hate that he went to Texas, but like, dude, overall, he's a Manning. There's absolutely no hate for Arch. I think he is a top tier quarterback. I am a little doubtful, but I know that he's got the best supporting cast around him, and that's exactly why he went to Texas. So he's in a great spot. I think he's going to play very well, and I think that's what makes him a top 5 quarterback in the SEC.
Yeah. The only reason I had him lower is, like I said, just the unproven factor of it. But I agree with everything that you said. I think that he's absolutely got the ability. He's got the talent around him to be that top 5 quarterback.
And he's got really good wide receiver talent too. So even if he's not making the greatest of throws, they're going to make him look better just because. Just watch. Texas is going to be good. I'm a hater on Texas. I will say that. I don't have them making the playoff this year, but I do think Arch Manning is going to be a decent quarterback.
But I guess my question would be, is the hype going to be too much for him?
And it very well could be. That's why I have him at 5. Because honestly, I mean, Arch Manning has the hype to be a top 3, top 2 quarterback in the SEC this year.
And not just
that's what he's been
in the country.
Yeah, and that's what he's been built up to be, but I'm not going there yet. He's 5th in the SEC for me.
Yep, absolutely.
And I will say this, from a national SEC, he didn't make it. He didn't make the list of top 10. I had Haynes King over Arch Manning. So
yeah. Number 4 on my list, I'm going Taylor Green out of Arkansas.
Oh, hey, spoiler alert. I did the same thing, bro. Sweet. So that's my number 4 too. All right, go ahead.
Both of us, Taylor Green out of Arkansas. And
a dog, dude.
I'm not going to sit here and say that Arkansas is going to be a 9-3, 10-2 type team coming out of this season. But what Taylor Green means for this team and what he does, game in and game out, the dude's a competitor, man. And he can get it done on the ground. He did struggle at times through the air last year. He missed some shots that he probably should have hit, but he still impressed a lot of the season this year. And I think he's going to take another step forward this year. We'll see if the Arkansas team as a whole around him can rally and maybe take another step forward that they need to take this year. But I think that he's absolutely a top 5 quarterback in the league.
Yeah, I think to your point, my top 4 quarterbacks, 100%. If they ever got hurt in the season, the football team's season is over.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I tried to do it. But my number 4 is Taylor Green. I'm gonna go with number 3 is Nuss Bus. I think he deservedly so has a lot of hype going into this year, but I think he's a bit overhyped. But I think he's equally just as important to his team as anybody. I think if Garrett Nussmeier doesn't have the season that they anticipate him having, LSU's in trouble. Dare I say Brian Kelly's in trouble. So just for the sheer importance that he means to the team, and let's face it, Garrett Nussmeier had a great year last year, just had some weird moments where it didn't look so good. But I think overall the experience is there. I think he is a top 3 quarterback going into the season this year in the SEC.
Yep. My number 3, this is where I have Marcel Reed. Now, Skylar mentioned it last year, Marcel Reed, he would make some of the most spectacular plays. And you're like, man, this kid is awesome. And then the next play, it'd be
interception.
That you're like, what's he doing, man? But the hype around this kid is not enough. I feel like he's being overlooked as a top quarterback in the SEC. And I think that, Texas A&M, they've got the talent around him too. And he played over half of the season last year as the starter due to, I can't remember his name now, but the guy that started the season went down with injury. And that's why Marcel Reed got the start. But then whenever he got that start, they tried going back to the other guy when he was healthy. And Marcel Reed just took the job over from there. So I think that he's going to take some of those mistakes that he made last year, and he's going to make another step forward this year. And I think that he's going to win some games for Texas A&M that they probably should lose going into it. I like Marcel Reed, which is why I have him so high on my list. He is number 3 on the list for me.
Valid. All right. It's no surprise who our top 2 is. I think it's everybody's top 2 in the SEC.
Yes. Are we going to have it the same, though, is the question.
I'll go ahead and do my number 2. It's DJ Lagway.
Okay. We're the same on this. I've got DJ Lagway at number 2 as well.
Right on. I think it's valid. I think DJ Lagway is very good. It means everything to Billy Napier this year. God bless if that dude gets hurt early in the year. Billy's gone. I'm sorry, but that's just about as simple as it gets.
Because is that not the reason why he got the extension anyway? Because they didn't want DJ Lagway to leave?
That's 100% correct. I mean, well, that and I think they truly believed. They seen a sample of DJ. I think it was a couple plays or a game where he got to go in, and they're like, "Oh, they do have something cooking. We just got to wait it out till we get there." But DJ is so good that he elevates the team around him so high that the ceiling and the floor for this Florida team couldn't be more apart.
Yep,
the ceiling for this Florida team, they could win 10 games, in my opinion.
Yep.
With a healthy DJ Lagway the entire year. But the floor for this Florida team is legitimately like 4-8. Let's say DJ Lagway gets hurt because he's trying so hard, because he's having to run his heart out because he can't get protected or whatever, and he gets hurt early in the year. You've seen Florida's schedule just like I have. I mean, it's going to be tough. But I think realistically, Florida could win 7 to 8 games this year. And if DJ's healthy and playing the way we think he can, they could win 8 to 9 games this year. And if they win 9 games and in the hunt of the playoff, Billy Napier's job saved. DJ's coming back for another year, and they're going to be hunting. They're going to be hunting playoff 2027. So DJ is my number 2 for those reasons. No surprise if you want to talk about DJ for just a second longer.
Yeah, for just a second. I mean, and I feel like the experience that he got last year, I hate the way the Graham Mertz season ended last year in that Tennessee game when he went down with the torn ACL. But I feel like that really helps DJ Lagway, because at that point in the season when Graham Mertz went down, did you really feel like that Florida had anywhere to go from there? Or was it just, all right, let's go ahead and get DJ Lagway in there. Let's get him experience. And whatever happens from this point on, that's a building block going into next year.
He had to do it for the fans.
Yes.
They lost the season. He had lost his fans. He had to do something to create a spark to give Florida fans hope. And
And
DJ
that's exactly
Lagway,
what happened.
DJ Lagway gave that. Big Hunt here in TikTok kind of reminded us, like, hey, even though DJ was hurt, they still won 8 games last year. And we tend to forget they literally put Ole Miss out of the playoff late in the year last year. So, if he stays healthy, Florida is a dangerous team, and I'll be the first to say, and I've already said it, we're losing in the Swamp this year. I mean, it's not a hot
I
take.
said that as well.
It's not a hot take. We haven't won in the Swamp since 2003. And honestly, I'm nervous about it regardless who their quarterback is, because I've seen some of the worst Florida teams with really bad quarterbacks still somehow find a way to beat Butch Jones and Jeremy Pruitt, whatever. So no, DJ Lagway's number 2. Lenore Sellers is number 1.
Yes, absolutely.
The kid went 9-3 last year, just absolutely exploded on the scene. Almost beat Alabama, arguably, in my opinion, should have, if he didn't get hurt in the game.
Should have beat them, should have beat LSU.
Yeah.
Once again, a game that he got hurt in, I believe, towards the end.
But another guy who, I mean, we think of South Carolina, and like they didn't have like the best team last year, but
No,
dude, they had
absolutely
Lenore
not.
Sellers, and he elevated that team. If we want to talk about MVP and most important and most valuable players of a team, it's Lenore Sellers, like 100% without a doubt, in my opinion. DJ Lagway's close, but I don't think South Carolina's going to have a great year this year as far as like going to the playoff. But if they do, it's because number 16 stayed healthy.
And see, I'm just the opposite. I think that South Carolina has a legitimate shot to make the playoffs this year because of their schedule.
I'm just not a Shane Beamer believer, man. That's just me.
And I agree. I'm not a believer in Shane Beamer. I don't like Shane Beamer. But with what Lenore Sellers does, and let's not forget the beginning of the season last year, it was all right, is it going to be Lenore Sellers, the incoming freshman, or is it going to be Robbie Ashford, the transfer from Auburn, that's going to take that job? And Lenore Sellers ended up winning it, and he never gave it up. The only time Robbie Ashford would come into the game was for the Wildcats, and they didn't even run that all that often. But Lenore Sellers is one of those quarterbacks, you mentioned it, he elevates the guys around him. And I think that based on South Carolina's schedule that we will get to later in the offseason, that I think they've got a legitimate shot to make the playoffs this year. I'm not going to bank on them doing anything, crazy, like going and winning the national title, but I think they've got an outside shot of making the playoffs this year just based on their schedule. But Lenore Sellers is, without a doubt, to me, the number 1 quarterback going into the SEC this year.
Right on. We got 60 people tuned in on X right now. This is insane. We appreciate y'all guys tuned in. We're talking top quarterbacks in the SEC. We just wrapped up our segment here where we had 3 of the top 4 the exact same. What was it? Taylon Green at number 4, and then DJ and Lenore Sellers 2 and 1, and we had different number 3s. But so I mean, top of the league's pretty. I'm not going to say obvious, but they've at least shown us and proven to us that they deserve to be some of the top quarterbacks in the league. Would you consider this, last question before I think we wrap up, would you consider this a down year or an up year for SEC quarterbacks this year?
For SEC quarterbacks
as a whole, in general, you go into the NFL draft basically and you're like, man, there's just not really a lot of talent coming out of the SEC this year. We've had that very recently, actually. What would you say about this year?
I think it's going to be an up year. Last year was kind of a down year for SEC quarterbacks overall. I think this year we're going to have an up year. We've got several returning starters from last year with a lot of experience coming back around them. We've got some incoming transfers that I think could just burst onto the scene. You could also see a couple of flops in there as well. But I think overall you're going to see a definite upswing in the SEC quarterback play this season. How about you?
I think it's going to be very mid. I think it's going to be average. You'll have 3 or 4 SEC quarterbacks that I think are really, really good. But then I think you're going to have your bottom 3 or 4 be really, really bad.
I can get on board with that.
Kentucky. Who is Kentucky's quarterback?
I can't remember his name, but his transfer from Penn State that was backing up Drew Aller.
Zach Calzada.
That's right. Yes.
Holy crap. Who is that kid? I'm joking. No disrespect, but kind of, sort of. You went to Kentucky. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think you're gonna have top heavy, you're gonna have very, very bottom heavy, and then I think you're just gonna have that mid tier, right? And so, but some of these guys are not even draft eligible. So at the end of the year, when it comes to the draft, you're not gonna see. In my opinion, I don't think you're going to see 3 or 4 first rounders come out of the SEC like you have seen in the past. I just don't think that's possible. But who knows? We'll see. And no, that's our top quarterback segment. Me and you both had Joey Aguilar pretty low, or pretty mid, I guess. Right? You had him at 9, I had him at 8, maybe.
Yeah,
I you had him at 10.
I had him at 10. You had him at 8, which I think is respectable because of the unknown factor around him right now. But he's another one of those that I feel like he can stay around that spot.
Yeah, I'm comfortable enough at that spot. Let's say GMAC wins it. I think I'd still put GMAC at that 8 spot.
Yes, if Jake Merklinger was to win it, I would still put him around that same spot. You could substitute all 3 of those quarterbacks there, and I feel better about them than those bottom quarterbacks.
Absolutely.
That we haven't mentioned, and I don't feel as good about them compared to the quarterbacks that we mentioned higher.
So a hot name that none of us even touched on, I think for a good reason, Gunnar Stockton at Georgia.
It's the unknown around him.
It's not even an unknown. I think it's pretty clear that he's just he wasn't it. Maybe he's grown in the offseason. We'll see. But as of what I've seen from him so far, I think he's got grit. I think he's got a lot of toughness. But I don't know if he's got it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see about it. But he did not make the top 10 for us.
Yeah. So before we close this out, we talked about our greatest moments from last week. I actually ran across one today that I completely forgot about that I probably would have put on my list somewhere, even if it was just an honorable mention.
Yeah.
The Will Brooks pick 6 against North Carolina State. And it wasn't just the pick 6 itself. It was the call from Reese Davis. I don't know if you remember this, but he reminisced John Ward on that call as Will Brooks is running down the field. The walk-on is running. The walk-on is running. 5, 4, 3, 2, give him 6. Yep. Just the call, the chills that it gave me listening to that call, just the reminiscing John Ward's famous call, and then just the arrival of Will Brooks. He was a walk-on, and he won the job outright.
He had 3 or 4 interceptions. Had another opportunity to have a pick 6. I think it was against
Kentucky.
And you seen Boo Carter, and he was like, "Why did you run over there?" Like I was telling you. So it was funny, like the opportunities he had, the way he played. Yeah, huge moment. Those are the type of players that are hard to replace, not because of their talent. Like I think Willie B wasn't necessarily the most talented guy, but he had passion for the T. He had the biggest heart you could have on that defense. His leadership skills were second to none.
And he knew where to be on the field, even though he wasn't the best athlete.
Right. And that pick 6 where he got chased down, or not pick 6, but that Kentucky game is kind of a point to he wasn't the fastest on the field. But like you said, he knew the game. He understood the defense and what defense coordinator wanted to do, Tim Banks wanted to do, and then just trusted Willie Martinez to his instincts, and he played his heart out. Those are the players that are hard to replace, because you can have all the talent in the world, but if they don't have the care or the work ethic that he had, it's hard to replace. So,
yeah. So to wrap it up, Skylar, do you know what next week is?
Next week is 4th of July.
It is 4th of July. Do you know what it is for the podcast?
Is that our official 2 years?
No. It's prediction time.
Ooh.
Next week.
Ooh.
So just
going for 3 in a row? I'm joking. Sorry.
No,
I'm not.
so the schedule for next week, we will have another topic similar to kind of what we've been doing as far as a list. That will be in segment 1. Segment 2, we also start our position previews. So live on the air here, Skylar, who do you want to start off with as far as position previews?
Position previews. We're starting on the defense, 100% D-line. Let's get it.
D-line. All right,
D-line.
that sounds good.
D-line. We're starting with the big boys. Sorry, I read a message. We have Big Papa Small up in the TikTok. If you don't know, he's a big Arkansas fan. He said, "Well, if it ain't the other guys that lost a quarterback to UCLA,
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it. It's fine."
But you know what? I think overall both of us upgraded. You know, y'all still had Taylor Green. That was already a big upgrade over Madden Iamaleava anyway. We got Joey Aguilar. I think is an upgrade over Nico. So Skylar, who do you want to start off?
Do you think that's an upgrade?
Aguilar? Yes, I think it is.
All right.
Now, as far as like professional ceiling later on, I think Nico's got a higher ceiling, but I think the college quarterback, Joey Aguilar, has the higher ceiling.
Yeah, I think talent-wise, I think Nico may be better, but I think production-wise, we'll probably actually be way better off. I mean, think about it. Production-wise, it's pretty. I mean, on 3, JD Pickles already said pretty clearly that it's not hard to necessarily outperform what Nico did last year.
Yeah.
It's pretty average, pretty mid what he did. And to rethink about this, I forgot about this. We went 3 straight games in the first half scoring 0 points in Hypo's offense. Can you believe that?
Yep. And
not all of that was Nico's fault. We had very much, for some reason, like first possession fumble issues. That was crazy. But either way, that's a tangent that we can talk about another day. But no, D-line next week, 100%.
So D-line. So we're going to try to go in order from 16th to 1st as far as
Kentucky
finishing wise. All right. We're on the same page. Kentucky's going to be
State.
Kentucky's going to be first next week.
Mississippi State. Are we doing 2 or just 1?
Next week is just 1.
Okay.
Yeah. Next week is just 1.
Kentucky will do better than Mississippi State, right? No,
I don't think
they
so.
won't. Kentucky.
I don't think so. I
think their ceiling's like 4 and 8.
Oh, yeah, something like that.
But
yeah. So next week we'll discuss during the week what we want our segment 1 topic to be. Segment 2 is the defensive line position preview, and segment 3 we are giving our Kentucky predictions. So it is starting prediction season, which is something that we've been waiting for.
Segment 3 is going to be a doozy, guys. It's going to be very exciting. Going to be predicting a lot of losses. Just going to go ahead and throw that out there. It's fine.
You think we bring our old friend Jay Hayes on to have him predict along with us? You know, that might get controversial. So
no, I think it's fine. He's a fan. He's got to be supportive.
Yeah. But do you have anything else before we close out this show tonight, man?
No, man. Excuse me, got the hiccups. It's been a good one. It's late at night. I'm sorry about that, guys. It's my fault. But it's been real. It's been fun. It's been nice having all of you guys tuned in. Like I said, we got 62 at X right now. Got a few over at YouTube. Had a few in Facebook. They dropped off on us, but it's been a long show, so that's understandable.
Yeah.
But we
got
really
several over on the TikTok as well.
So. That is exactly right. Got a few on the TikTok. But yeah, man, it's been a great night. We're going to be continuing on this Thursday schedule, and I think as we get closer to the season, as we get closer to predictions, it's I'm feeling some good positive momentum going in the show, and I'm still having fun with it, Michael. So I hope you are too.
I am as well. As long as we have fun with it, as long as we have people willing to listen, we're going to keep doing this, man. And as long as our wives allow us to keep doing it. So funny story. Before we went on tonight, I was kind of joking with her, putting Anderson to bed. I said, you know, if you get a wild hair, go ahead and throw that Tennessee hat on him while he's sleeping, you know, while you're watching the podcast. She said, I'm absolutely going to be watching the podcast after last week. Can't be having y'all make some bad decisions on there, like trying to shave a beard. I mean,
I still think it's a valid punishment.
I mean, it might be a valid punishment, but you're also going to be shaving. If I was to lose, you'd be shaving the beard off of a dad and that his kid won't recognize afterwards.
But
I mean,
it's a valid punishment. We're going to keep thinking about it, but we're thinking about the loser of this year's. I don't know. The wife's hard said no, but that kind of makes me want to do it just a little bit more. I mean, I got this. She ain't gonna leave.
My hands are clean in this right here. Just want you to know that, Aaliyah. My hands are clean in this right here. So
I feel good. I've won 2 in a row, babe. She just commented. Catherine said it's only valid if you win. Let's be honest. She's got my back. She already knows I'm winning this. It's 3 in a row right here. And honestly, look, if I did lose, it'll be back in like 4 days. Like, I don't know. I ain't that worried. It's fine. You have a good night. It's been great. It's been real. It's been fun. But y'all have a good one. Go Vols.
Yep. Go Vols, everybody.